This weekend we went drifting, and my son, and his habit of, I don't know if we was already having lug stud problems. The driver's side back wheel felt like it was getting loose, and we would check it, and he would probably have to torque it up every now and then, and so the lugs were kind of backing out on their own. Well, I think just checking them a few times might have ended up getting them too tight or galled up or something, but the driver's side back lugs two are broke, and another one's gonna break, so we're gonna have to replace all 5 of the studs on the driver's side back of the IS300, so we have to do the other side of the back. And then at the end of the day, my 240, my son was driving it because his car, the lugs had messed up and it stalled out. Well, we think it might have run out of fuel, put some fuel in it. We end up having to drain the fuel first because the cap that goes on the actual, where it holds the fuel pump in and everything on those, it was spilling fuel everywhere over the track. Well, we got to messing with it, and like the body is loose, so it's either not screwed on right, like somebody's cross-threaded it, or the seal's not in it or something. The seal's damaged, but it's dumping fuel. So we took the fuel out of it and we drove it some through the day, and we were running it pretty low, just trying to keep fuel off the track, and we didn't want to catch the car on fire. And so it stalled out. He thought it ran out of fuel. We threw some fuel in it, cranked it over, and we never could get it to start. We ended up having to haul both of them back this weekend, and I'm hoping, because the battery sounded kind of weak, or it was out of time. I'm not sure if this thing's out of time or if it's just a crappy battery, but it's definitely having issues starting. So I may end up changing the battery and just see, charge a good battery and change it, or charge this one and see if it does any better. But it's smoking and spitting and sputtering and carrying on. After we got it back, it finally cranked, but it's not running good at all. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that it just fouled out a couple plugs, so I'm going to check those. I did get some new ones to reinstall if they look bad, but I'm going to give that a once over. So that's what we're working on right now, is pulling my spark plugs and seeing what we come up with. So but yeah, here we go. Well, I don't know my firing order on my KA stuff yet. If it was a Honda, I just yank all the plug wires off, and then I would just put them all back on when I wanted to, or when I got done. But I don't know my firing order on these just yet, so I'm going to do them one at a time and try to keep my plug wires in order. Yeah, that one is fuel soaked, so we might be onto something here. If you can see, how black that thing is. It's hard to tell. Let me get my light turned around here. So if you can see that, I don't know if you can or not, but the thing's fuel soaked. It's not horrible, but it's usually generally when they're black like that, and it smells of fuel big time. So that's usually a pretty good sign of that being fuel. Alright, so I got the next one out, and this one was actually wet from fuel. So that's definitely, you can see the difference. This one was actually wet and it smells like fuel like a lot. So definitely fouled, I believe. Alright, so what I do on mine is I'll take a little anti-seize, just regular Permatex anti-seize, and kind of mix it up. I ain't used it in a few days. And this stuff will get everywhere. And I'll just put just a dab or two on it. And the way when I put mine in, what I'll do is I'll take a vacuum hose and I'll put my spark plug on a vacuum hose like that. This stuff goes everywhere. I try not to put no more than I have to, but you want to kind of spread it out on your threads, on the lower part of your threads. You don't have to put it all the way up. That brush is so big. And then I'll take mine and I will stick my vacuum hose. I see people drop them in there. I see people that they'll drop them and spin them, and that's the way they work. But you know, you just put them in there like that. Put your socket down there on it. Tighten that jewel up. And I keep my hand up here when I tighten mine, because you don't want to over tighten. They just need to be snug. And so once they get tight, you'll feel them, they'll try to start getting, and once I get where it's pretty hard to turn, I don't move back here and get all that leverage. I get them once they're snug. And you'll see when I take them out, I'll use the actual plug boot. Once you get them loose, you shouldn't have to use the ratchet after that. A lot of your sockets will have a boot in the end of them. I don't like using that because a lot of times it'll just pull the socket off and it don't want to pull the plug up out of there, especially when you reinstall. And you can see this one just the same. It's wet. Oh yeah, it smells like fuel. So I think we definitely have an issue with flooding. So, and it's pretty much just the same cycle. You get your new plug. Again, you don't want a ton of anti-seize on these. It don't have to be a lot. Just main thing is start low. And that way, as you tighten, they'll come up the thread. And that's all you need. That's plenty. Sounds like somebody's got a flat or something. Then you just drop it in there. Give it a twist or two. Well, generally, and you'll feel it just do its thing. And just give her a good twist-a-rooney or two on that vacuum hose. That should be good. And you get her going with the extension. Same thing. Just snug it up with your hand there, and that's all you got to do. So, yeah, this is the fourth one. All four of them are definitely wet from fuel. So, best I can tell, it appears we just have a over-fueling issue, or had at some point. If I realized they were this bad, I may have got just a hair hotter spark plug, but we're gonna have to figure something out on this thing. Is why is it running so rich? That's way too much, but we're gonna put it on there. This is a new engine, so I gotta figure out either how to pull the fuel pressure down or something. And that's pretty much that. But yeah, we're gonna make sure the O2 sensor's hooked up correctly, the mass airflow, MAF, whatever you want to call it. I think that controls the air fuel on any of your MAF engines. That's your main resource to keep your air fuel dialed in. And if I can't get that worked out, we'll just have to go to a hotter plug for a while or something. Just see if we can remedy that. But that's changing the plugs in a KA.
I'm feeling high.